Liam Carter wiped his hands on a greasy rag as he stepped out of the garage. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink over the small town where he lived. He glanced at the clock on the wall, almost 7 o'clock. His daughter, Maya, would be waiting for him at home, probably sitting cross-legged on the couch with her favorite book open in front of her. That thought made him smile, even though his back hurt from bending over car engines all day. The weather forecast had been talking about a big storm coming soon. Everyone was buzzing about it. The news anchors warned that this wasn't just any regular storm. It could knock out power lines, flood streets, and maybe even tear roofs off houses. Liam didn't like storms. They reminded him of the night, too. Years ago when everything changed. That was the night his wife, Claire, died in a car accident during heavy rain. Since then, life had been hard, not just for him, but also for Maya. She missed her mom every single day. Still, Liam tried his best. He worked long hours fixing cars at the local shop and took odd jobs around town whenever he could. Money was tight, but he always managed to make sure Maya had what she needed. Food on the table, clothes that fit, books to read. He did whatever it took. Sometimes it meant skipping meals himself or working late into the night. But seeing Maya laugh or hug him when he got home made it worth it. As Liam locked up the garage, his phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a text from Mr. Harris, an older man who lived down the street. "Hey, Liam, can you come by tomorrow? My fence needs repair before the storm hits," Liam sighed. Another job. At least it paid well enough to cover groceries for the week. He typed back a quick reply. "Sure thing, I'll be there around noon." Walking home, Liam noticed Mrs. Peterson pulling weeds from her garden across the road. She waved when she saw him, and he nodded politely. Then his eyes drifted further down the block, past the row of modest houses, until they landed on one house that stood apart from the rest. It belonged to Eleanor Voss, a woman most people in town barely knew. Her house was bigger than the others, with tall windows and a steep roof. But it looked neglected, like no one cared about it anymore. Weeds grew wild in the yard, and the paint on the shutters was peeling. Liam had seen her once or twice in passing, but she never spoke much. She kept to herself, which suited everyone. Fine. When Liam reached his own house, Maya was exactly where he imagined she'd be, on the couch, her nose buried in a book. She looked up when he walked in and grinned. "Dad, you're home," she said, jumping up to hug him. He hugged her back tightly, feeling grateful despite the exhaustion weighing him down. After dinner, a simple meal of spaghetti and canned vegetables, they sat together watching TV. The weather report came on again, showing satellite images of swirling clouds heading straight toward their town. The meteorologist talked about high winds, torrential rain, and possible flooding. Maya frowned at the screen. "Will our house be okay?" she asked. "Of course," Liam said firmly, though he wasn't entirely sure. Their roof was old, patched up more times than he could count. If the wind got bad enough, it might not hold. But he didn't want to worry Maya. Instead, he ruffled her hair and said, "Don't think about it too much. We'll be fine." The next morning, Liam grabbed his toolbox and headed to Mr. Harris's place. The old man greeted him warmly and pointed to the sagging section of the fence. "It's been giving me trouble for months," Mr. Harris admitted. "But now with the storm coming, I figured I better get it fixed." Liam nodded and got to work. By noon, the fence was sturdy again. As he packed up his tools, Mr. Harris handed him a check. "Thanks, Liam. You're a lifesaver." Liam smiled, pocketing the check. It wasn't much, but it helped. On his way home, Liam decided to take a detour past Eleanor's house. Something about it caught his attention today. Maybe it was the fin. way the wind rattled the loose shingles on the roof. Or maybe it was the fact that no lights were on inside, even though it was getting dark early, because of the storm clouds gathering overhead. Either way, something told him to stop. He parked his truck near the curb and climbed out. The yard was overgrown, and the air smelled faintly of damp earth. Liam hesitated for a moment, wondering if he should knock on the door. What would he say? "Hi, I'm your neighbor, and I think your roof might collapse." It sounded ridiculous, but he couldn't shake the feeling that he should do something. Finally, he walked up to the front porch and knocked gently. There was no answer. He knocked again, louder this time. Still nothing. Just as he turned to leave, the door creaked open slightly. A voice called out from inside. "Who is it?" "It's Liam Carter," he said quickly. "I live a few blocks away. I noticed your roof looks like it's in bad shape. With the storm coming, I thought maybe..." The door opened wider, revealing Eleanor Voss. She was shorter than Liam expected, with silver hair tied neatly in a bun and sharp blue eyes that seemed to see right through him. She wore a plain gray sweater and jeans, looking more like someone's grandmother than a mysterious recluse. "My roof?" she repeated, raising an eyebrow. "Yes, ma'am. Some of the shingles are loose, and the flashing near the chimney looks damaged. If the wind gets strong enough, it could cause real problems." Eleanor studied him for a moment, her expression unreadable. Then she stepped aside and gestured for him to come in. "You're offering to fix it?" "Well," Liam hesitated. "I mean, yes. I don't expect anything in return. I know how bad storms can be, and I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt." For a second, he thought she might argue, but instead she nodded slowly. "Very well. Do what you need to do." Relieved, Liam went back to his truck to grab his ladder and tools. Maya tagged along, eager to help. Together, they hauled everything to the side of the house and started climbing onto the roof. The wind was picking up now, making the task more difficult, but Liam focused on the job at hand. Maya stayed on the ground, handing him nails and shouting encouragement whenever she thought he needed it. As he worked, Liam couldn't help noticing strange things happening. Once, when he dropped a hammer, it hovered mid-air for a split second before falling to the ground. Another time, a gust of wind nearly knocked him off balance, but somehow he remained steady, as if an invisible force was holding him in place. He shook it off, telling himself it was just his imagination playing tricks on him. Meanwhile, Eleanor watched from a window, her face unreadable. When Liam finally finished, he climbed down and wiped sweat from his forehead. "That should hold," he said, nodding toward the repaired roof. "It won't leak, even if the rain gets heavy." Eleanor stepped outside, wrapping a scarf around her neck against the cold breeze. "Thank you," she said simply. "How much do I owe you?" Liam shook his head. "Nothing, really. Just take care of yourself, okay?" She stared at him for a long moment, then reached into her pocket and pulled out a small envelope. "Take this," she insisted, pressing it into his hand. Before he could protest, she turned and went back inside, closing the door firmly behind her. Confused, Liam looked down at the envelope. It was sealed, with no writing on it. He tucked it into his jacket, figuring he'd look at it later. For now, he gathered his tools and headed home with Maya, both of them exhausted, but satisfied with a job well done. That night, as the first, drops of rain began to fall. Liam sat at the kitchen table with the envelope in front of him. Maya yawned beside him, half asleep. "What's that, Dad?" She mumbled. "I don't know yet," Liam admitted. Carefully, he opened the envelope and unfolded the paper inside. What he read made his heart skip a beat. It was a legal document, stating that Eleanor Voss owned half the state, or rather, her family's company did. And according to the letter, She wanted to repay him for his kindness in some way. Liam sat there for a long time, staring at the words. Outside, the storm grew louder, rattling the windows and shaking the trees. But inside, Liam felt strangely calm. Whatever happened next, he knew one thing for certain. Sometimes, doing the right thing, even when no one's watching, could change everything. The next morning, Liam woke up early to the sound of rain tapping against the windows. The storm had arrived during the night, just as predicted. He got out of bed carefully so he wouldn't wake Maya, who was still sleeping soundly under her blanket. She looked peaceful, her hair spread across the pillow, her favorite stuffed bear clutched in one arm. For a moment, Liam stood there watching her, feeling a mix of pride and worry. Life wasn't easy for them, but she always managed to smile through it all. He went to the kitchen and made himself a cup of coffee. The envelope from Eleanor sat on the table where he'd left it the night before. He picked it up again and read the document inside once more, trying to make sense of it. According to the paper, Eleanor Voss, or rather, her family owned half the state. Their company controlled huge amounts of land, businesses, and resources. But what did that have to do with him? Why would someone like Eleanor care about fixing her roof? Liam shook his head, folding the paper back into the envelope. He decided not to think about it too much. Maybe it was a mistake. Or maybe Eleanor was just being nice. Either way, he couldn't let it distract him from the day ahead. There were things to do, groceries to buy, bills to pay, and another job lined up at Mr. Peterson's house later that afternoon. Got after breakfast, Liam bundled Maya into their old truck and drove to the grocery store. The streets were slick with rain, and the sky was heavy with gray clouds. People hurried along the sidewalks, huddled under umbrellas or wearing raincoats. Maya pressed her face against the window, watching the water splash in puddles as they drove by. At the store, Liam grabbed a cart and started filling it with essentials: bread, milk, cereal, canned goods. Maya wandered beside him, holding on to the side of the cart and pointing out snacks she wanted. "Can we get cookies?" she asked hopefully. Liam hesitated, then nodded. "Okay, but only one pack," he said, smiling. Seeing her happy made the stress of everything else feel a little lighter. When they got home, Liam put away the groceries while Maya played with her toys in the living room. Afterward, he checked the weather report online. The storm showed no signs of letting up any time soon. Winds were gusting over 50 miles per hour in some areas, and power outages had already been reported across town. Liam double-checked their flashlight, batteries, and candles, just in case. By early afternoon, he was ready to head to Mr. Peterson's house. Maya stayed behind this time, promising to finish reading her book and keep an eye on the house. As Liam drove, he passed Eleanor's house again. Something about it nagged at him. He hadn't seen her since yesterday, and now, with the storm raging outside, he wondered if she was okay. Her house looked dark, almost abandoned, even though he knew she was inside. Unable to shake the feeling, Liam parked his truck near her driveway and walked up to the front door. The wind whipped around him, sending cold raindrops stinging his face. He knocked loudly, shouting over the noise of the storm. "Eleanor? Are you there?" There was no answer. He knocked again, louder this time. Still nothing. Frowning, Liam tried the doorknob. To his surprise, it turned easily, and the door creaked open. "Hello?" he called, stepping cautiously inside. "It's Liam." The house was eerily quiet, except for the sound of the storm rattling the windows. The air smelled faintly of lavender and something metallic, like electricity. Liam moved deeper into the hallway, calling out again. That's when he noticed the note taped to the wall near the staircase. It was addressed to him. He peeled it off and unfolded it. In neat handwriting, it said, "You fixed my roof when no one else would. Now I'm returning the favor. Take care of your daughter." Liam stared at the words, his heart pounding. What did she mean? Was she leaving? Before he could think about it too much, he heard a soft click behind him. Turning quickly, he saw another envelope taped to the inside of the door he'd just come through. This one was smaller, plain white, with no writing on it. Curious, Liam opened it. Inside was a prepaid debit card and a short note. "Use this wisely. You deserve it." He flipped the card over in his hand, stunned. How much money was on it? And why was she giving it to him? None of it made sense. Liam felt torn between gratitude and confusion. He wanted to ask her questions, to understand what was going on. But she wasn't here. Reluctantly, he left the house, closing the door behind him. The storm raged on as he hurried back to his truck. Once inside, he tucked the card into his wallet and sat there for a moment, staring out at the rain. Something about Eleanor's actions felt strange, almost magical. But Liam didn't believe in magic. He believed in hard work, kindness, and doing the right thing, even when it didn't seem to matter. Later that evening, after finishing the job at Mr. Peterson's house, Liam returned home. Maya greeted him at the door, holding up the book she'd been reading. "Look, Dad, I finished it," she exclaimed proudly. He smiled and gave her a hug, pushing thoughts of Eleanor to the back of his mind. For now, he focused on Maya, on keeping her safe and happy. But as the night wore on, Liam couldn't stop thinking about the envelope and the card. Finally, unable to resist any longer, he pulled out his laptop and searched for information about Eleanor Voss. At first, he found nothing unusual, just records of property ownership and business dealings. But the deeper he dug, the stranger things became. Articles from decades ago mentioned her family's company, Voss Technologies. They had pioneered advanced environmental systems, including renewable energy solutions and weather control technology. But then, suddenly, the company disappeared from public view. No announcements, no explanations, just silence. Even more surprising was the fact that Eleanor herself hadn't been seen publicly since the 1990s. Rumors swirled about her disappearing after her parents died in a mysterious accident. Some claimed she faked her death to escape corporate greed. Others said she went into hiding to protect herself from enemies. Whatever the truth was, it seemed clear that Eleanor Voss was far more than just a reclusive neighbor. Liam leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples. His head spun with questions. Who was she really? And why had she chosen him to help? Over the next few days, the storm continued to batter the town. Power lines snapped, trees fell, and roads flooded. Many people lost electricity, including Liam and Maya. But somehow, their house remained warm and dry, protected by the repairs Liam had done before the storm hit. Neighbors gathered at the community center, sharing food and stories while waiting for the worst to pass. One evening, as Liam sat with Maya in the dim light of a lantern, he noticed something odd. A small drone hovered outside their window, blinking softly. It reminded him of the tools that had acted strangely when he worked on Eleanor's roof. Carefully, he opened the window and let the drone float inside. It landed gently on the table, depositing a package wrapped in brown paper. "What is that?" Maya asked, wide-eyed. "I don't know," Liam admitted. He unwrapped the package slowly, revealing a thick book inside. On the cover was a title written in elegant gold letters, "Stories of Kindness." Flipping it open, he realized it was a children's book filled with tales of ordinary people doing extraordinary things, not because they sought fame or fortune, but because it was the right thing to do. Maya squealed with delight and snatched the book from him. "Can we read it together?" she begged. Liam nodded, pulling her close as they began reading the first story aloud. Each tale was simple yet powerful, reminding them both of the importance of compassion, courage, and hope. On the last page of the book, there was a handwritten message. The world doesn't need heroes. It needs good people doing the right thing, even when no one's watching. Liam closed the book and hugged Maya tightly. He didn't fully understand what was happening or why Eleanor had chosen him, but he felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe life wasn't just about surviving the storms. It was also about finding moments of light in the darkness. As the rain continued to fall outside, Liam made a silent promise to himself. He would use whatever gifts Eleanor had given him, not for himself, but to help others. Because sometimes the smallest acts of kindness could ripple outward, changing lives in ways no one ever expected. The storm finally passed after 4 long days. The town was a mess. Branches littered the streets. Power lines hung limp like broken spiderwebs, and puddles stretched across yards and roads. But Liam and Maya were okay. Their house had held up well thanks to the repairs Liam had done before the storm hit. Even though they'd lost electricity for a while, they managed with candles and blankets. Now, as the sun peeked through the clouds, people started cleaning up their neighborhoods and checking on each other. Liam was outside raking leaves when his phone buzzed in his pocket. He wiped his hands on his jeans and answered it. A man's voice came through the line, calm but formal. "Mr. Carter? This is Mr. Dawson, an attorney representing Eleanor Voss. She asked me to reach out to you." Liam froze, rake still in hand. His mind raced back to the envelope, the prepaid card, the mysterious book delivered by a drone. What did Eleanor want now? Sure, he said slowly. "What's this about?" "I'd like to meet with you," Mr. Dawson continued. "It's important. When would be a good time for you?" Liam hesitated. He didn't know what to expect, but curiosity got the better of him. "How about tomorrow morning?" he suggested. "Perfect. I'll send you the address." "See you then, Mr. Carter." When the call ended, Liam stared at his phone for a long moment. Maya came bounding out of the house, her hair tied into 2 messy braids. "Who was that, Dad?" she asked, tugging at his sleeve. "It was a lawyer," Liam said, shaking his head. "He wants to talk to me about Eleanor." Maya's eyes widened. "Is she in trouble?" "I don't think so," Liam replied, though he wasn't entirely sure. "But I guess we'll find out tomorrow." That night, Liam couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Eleanor and everything that had happened since he fixed her roof. First, the strange note. Then the prepaid card. And now a lawyer wanting to meet him. It felt like pieces of a puzzle were falling into place, but he couldn't see the whole picture yet. He tossed and turned until dawn, when exhaustion finally pulled him under. The next morning, Liam dressed in his cleanest pair of jeans and a button-up shirt. He dropped Maya off at Mrs. Peterson's house. She loved playing with Mrs. Peterson's dog, and drove to the address Mr. Dawson had sent him. It turned out to be a sleek office building downtown, far fancier than anything Liam was used to. He parked his old truck beside shiny cars and stepped inside, feeling out of place. A receptionist greeted him warmly and led him to a conference room. Mr. Dawson was already there, standing by a large window that overlooked the city. He was tall and thin, wearing a dark suit and glasses perched on the edge of his nose. "Mr. Carter," he said, extending a hand. "Thank you for coming." "No problem," Liam said, shaking his hand. "So, what's this about?" Mr. Dawson gestured for Liam to sit down. Once they were both seated, he opened a folder and slid a document across the table. "Eleanor Voss has requested that you take on a role within her company," he explained. "Specifically, as a consultant overseeing green tech projects funded by Voss Technologies. Liam blinked, stunned. Wait, what? Me? Why me? Because of who you are, Mr. Dawson said simply. Eleanor values kindness and integrity above all else. You proved those qualities when you helped her without expecting anything in return. She believes you're exactly the kind of person needed to guide these initiatives. Liam leaned back, in his chair, overwhelmed. He wasn't qualified for something like this. He fixed roofs and cars, not billion-dollar tech projects. I don't know anything about running a company, he admitted. You won't be running it, Mr. Dawson assured him. Your job will involve working with teams of engineers and scientists, providing input based on practical experience. Think of yourself as a bridge between innovation and real-world application. Liam rubbed his temples, trying to process everything. This is a lot to take in, he muttered. I understand, Mr. Dawson said. Take your time to think about it. But know this. Eleanor doesn't ask lightly. If she chose you, it's because she trusts you. After leaving the office, Liam walked around downtown for a while, letting the information sink in. The idea of working for Eleanor's company felt surreal. On one hand, it was an incredible opportunity, a chance to make a difference in ways he'd never imagined. On the other hand, it scared him. What if he messed up? What if he let Eleanor down? By the time he picked Maya up from Mrs. Peterson's, he still hadn't made up his mind. Maya chattered happily about her day as they drove home, oblivious to the weight of his decision. When they got back, Liam made dinner while Maya played with her toys. Afterward, they sat together on the couch, flipping through the pages of stories of kindness again, as they read. Liam found himself drawn to one particular story about a farmer who saved his village during a drought. The farmer didn't have much, but he shared what little water he had with everyone else. In the end, his generosity inspired others to work together and find solutions. Liam closed the book and looked at Maya. What do you think of that story? He asked. I like it, Maya said, hugging her knees to her chest. It makes me feel happy. Me too, Liam agreed. Sometimes doing the right thing can change everything. That night, as Liam tucked Maya into bed, he realized something. Eleanor had given him a gift, not just money or a job offer, but a chance to be part of something bigger than himself. Maybe he didn't have all the answers, but he could try. For Maya, for Claire, for everyone who deserved a better future. The next day, Liam called Mr. Dawson and accepted the position. Over the following weeks, he began meeting with engineers and scientists, learning about the projects Voss Technologies was funding. They were developing new ways to harness renewable energy, purify water, and protect ecosystems. At first, Liam felt out of his depth, but the team was patient and supportive. They valued his perspective because it came from real-life experience, not textbooks. One evening, after a long day of meetings, Liam received another package in the mail. Inside was a letter from Eleanor. It was short and to the point. You've already begun making a difference. Keep going. Liam smiled, tucking the letter into his desk drawer. He didn't need fancy words or grand gestures to know that Eleanor believed in him. That was enough. As the weeks turned into months, Liam settled into his new role. He worked, mostly from home, which allowed him to spend more time with Maya. She loved hearing about his projects, especially the ones involving solar panels and wind turbines. Sometimes she even drew pictures of them, imagining how they might look in real life. Through his work, Liam also met others who had been quietly helped by Eleanor over the years. There was Mrs. Alvarez, a single mother who ran a community garden. Mr. Patel, a retired teacher building tiny libraries in underserved areas. And dozens more. Each of them had received support, not because they were rich or famous, but because they cared deeply about helping others. One Saturday afternoon, Liam took Maya to visit Eleanor's house. He wanted to thank her personally for everything she'd done. When they arrived, the yard was tidier than before, though still quiet and peaceful. Liam knocked on the door, holding Maya's hand tightly. This time, Eleanor answered almost immediately. She looked the same as before, calm and composed, but there was a softness in her eyes that hadn't been there before. "Come in," she said, stepping aside. Inside, the house was cozy and warm, filled with books and plants. Eleanor offered them tea, which Maya accepted eagerly. As they sipped their drinks, Liam cleared his throat. "I just wanted to say thank you," he began, "for everything. I don't know why you chose me, but I'm trying my best to live up to it." Eleanor smiled faintly. "You already have," she said. "Kindness isn't measured by grand gestures. It's found in the small choices we make every day, like fixing a roof when no one asks you to." Liam nodded, feeling a lump rise in his throat. "Still, I owe you, and I promise to keep paying it forward. That's all I ask," Eleanor replied. "Take care of your daughter. Take care of the world. And remember, you're not alone." They stayed a little longer, talking about Maya's school and the progress of Liam's projects. By the time they left, the sun was setting, casting golden light over the neighborhood. As they drove home, Maya leaned her head against the window, watching the sky turn pink and orange. "What did you think of Eleanor?" Liam asked. "She's nice," Maya said thoughtfully, "and smart. Like a superhero." Liam chuckled. "Yeah, she kind of is. Life wasn't perfect, and challenges still lay ahead." But for the first time in a long time, Liam felt hopeful. He knew the road wouldn't always be easy, but he also knew he wasn't walking it alone. With Eleanor's trust, his own determination, and Maya by his side, he was ready to face whatever came next. Months passed, and Liam grew more comfortable in his role as a consultant for Voss Technologies. At first, he worried that he wouldn't understand the technical details, or that people might not take him seriously because he wasn't an engineer or scientist. But to his surprise, everyone treated him with respect. They listened when he shared ideas about how ordinary people could use new technology in their daily lives. His practical perspective turned out to be exactly what the team needed. Liam worked mostly from home, which gave him more time with Maya. She loved hearing about the projects he was involved in, like solar panels that could power entire neighborhoods or machines that cleaned polluted rivers. Sometimes she even drew pictures of these inventions, imagining how they might look in real life. Her enthusiasm made Liam smile. He hoped that one day she'd grow up in a world where clean energy and kindness were the norm, not the exception. Evening, after finishing a report on a water purification project, Liam decided to call Mr. Dawson. He hadn't spoken to the lawyer in weeks and wanted to check in. "How's everything going?" Liam asked when Mr. Dawson answered. "Good," Mr. Dawson replied. "Eleanor's pleased with your progress. She doesn't say much, but I can tell." Liam chuckled. "Yeah, she's not big on words. She's letting you learn at your own pace," Mr. Dawson added. "But there's something else I need to discuss with you. Can we meet tomorrow?" "Sure," Liam said, though curiosity tugged at him. What did Mr. Dawson want now? The next morning, Liam drove to the same office building downtown. When he arrived, Mr. Dawson greeted him warmly and led him to the conference room again. This time, instead of sitting down, Mr. Dawson handed Liam a thick folder. "This is Eleanor's personal history," he explained. "She wants you to know more about her background. She believes it will help you understand why she does what she does." Liam hesitated before opening the folder. Inside were old newspaper clippings, photographs, and handwritten notes. The earliest articles dated back to the 1970s, when Eleanor's parents founded Voss Technologies. Back then, the company was known for its groundbreaking work in renewable energy and environmental systems. They developed technologies that could control weather patterns, purify air, and generate electricity using natural resources like wind and sunlight. But tragedy struck in the early 1990s. Eleanor's parents died in a mysterious accident. Plane crash that many suspected wasn't an accident at all. Afterward, Eleanor vanished from public view. Rumors swirled that she had faked her death to escape corporate greed or political pressure. Others claimed she went into hiding to protect herself from enemies who wanted to exploit her family's inventions. For decades, Voss Technologies operated, quietly behind the scenes, funding green tech projects and supporting communities around the world. Eleanor stayed hidden, watching and waiting for the right moment to step forward again. Now, with climate change worsening and governments struggling to find solutions, she believed the time had come to act, but only through trusted individuals like Liam Dot. As Liam read through the documents, he felt a mix of awe and sadness. Eleanor had sacrificed so much to keep her family's legacy alive. She lived in solitude, far away from the spotlight, yet she never stopped caring about the world. "Why me?" Liam asked softly. "There are smarter, more qualified people out there." "Mister." Dawson smiled. "You're wrong about that. Eleanor doesn't care about degrees or titles. She cares about character. You've shown her that you're willing to help others without expecting anything in return. That's rare and valuable." On the drive home, Liam thought about everything he'd learned. Eleanor's story reminded him of his own struggles. Years he spent working tirelessly to provide for Maya, even when it felt like no one noticed. Maybe that was why she chose him. She saw someone who kept going, no matter how hard things got. When Liam got home, Maya was sprawled on the living room floor, coloring a picture of a wind turbine. "Hey, Dad," she said, looking up. "Do you think this could actually work?" Liam knelt beside her and studied the drawing. It was surprisingly detailed, with blades spinning and wires connecting it to houses. "I think it could," he said honestly. "Maybe one day you'll design something even better." Maya grinned, proud of herself. "Cool." That night, Liam tucked her into bed and kissed her forehead. As he turned off the light, he realized how much Maya inspired him. Her curiosity and creativity reminded him of Eleanor, someone who saw possibilities where others saw problems. He promised himself to keep learning, to keep growing, so he could make her proud. Over the next few weeks, Liam threw himself into his work. He attended meetings, reviewed proposals, and visited sites where Voss Technologies projects were being tested. One day, he traveled to a small town in the mountains where engineers were installing solar panels on rooftops. The community had struggled with high energy costs for years, but thanks to Eleanor's funding, they were finally getting a sustainable solution. While there, Liam met a woman named Rachel, who ran a local food bank. She thanked him for helping bring the project to their town. "We've been praying for something like this," she said, tears in her eyes. "It's going to change everything." Liam felt humbled. He didn't do much. He just connected the right people and resources, but the impact was enormous. It made him realize how powerful kindness could be, especially when paired with action. Back home, Liam continued mentoring other fathers in similar situations. He organized informal gatherings at the park, sharing advice on balancing work and parenting. Some of the men were skeptical at first, but they quickly warmed up to him. They talked about their struggles, swapped stories, and laughed together. Liam encouraged them to lean on each other, just as he had leaned on friends and neighbors during tough times. One Saturday afternoon, Liam received another package in the mail. Inside was a letter from Eleanor, along with a photograph. The photo showed a young girl standing in front of a wind turbine, smiling brightly. On the back, Eleanor had written, The day of the conference arrived, and Liam felt a mix of excitement and nerves as he drove to the nearby city. He had never been to an event like this before, and he wasn't sure what to expect. Would people take him seriously? Would he understand the technical talks? But then he reminded himself why he was there: to learn, to connect, and to see firsthand the impact of the work he'd helped support. When he arrived at the convention center, he was amazed by how busy it was. Scientists, engineers, activists, and business leaders filled the halls, chatting enthusiastically about their projects. Posters covered the walls, showcasing innovations in renewable energy, water purification, and sustainable farming. Liam wandered through the exhibits, taking it all in. Some of the displays were hard to understand, but others caught his attention right away, like a portable solar generator designed for remote villages, or a machine that turned ocean plastic into building materials. As he explored, Liam noticed something surprising. Many of the people running these projects mentioned Voss Technologies. They talked about how Eleanor's funding had made their work possible, though none of them seemed to know much about her personally. To most, she was just a name, a mysterious benefactor who believed in their ideas when no one else did. Liam smiled to himself. He knew the truth that behind the scenes, Eleanor was quietly shaping the future. And now, in some small way, he was part of that too. Later that afternoon, Liam attended a panel discussion featuring leaders in green technology. The speakers talked about the challenges of combating climate change and the importance of working together across borders and industries. One speaker, a young woman named Dr. Emily Hart, stood out to Liam. Her passion and determination reminded him of Maya, the same spark of curiosity and hope. After the session ended, Liam approached Dr. Hart to thank her for her inspiring talk. She smiled warmly and introduced herself. "I'm glad you enjoyed it," she said. "Are you involved in sustainability work?" "Sort of," Liam replied. "I consult for Voss Technologies. I help connect their projects with communities that need them." Dr. Hart's eyes widened. "Really? That's incredible. Eleanor's company has done so much for us. Their support allowed us to scale up our clean water initiative faster than we ever imagined." They talked for a while longer, sharing stories and exchanging contact information. Before leaving, Dr. Hart handed Liam a brochure about her project. "If you're ever interested in visiting our site, let me know." "You'd be welcome any time." Liam thanked her and tucked the brochure into his bag. As he walked away, he realized how much he'd learned already, and the day wasn't even over yet. That evening, there was a dinner for attendees. Liam hesitated before going in. He didn't think he belonged among such accomplished people, but he decided to give it a try. Inside, the room buzzed with conversation. People mingled, laughing and exchanging ideas. Liam grabbed a plate of food and found a quiet corner to sit in. To his surprise, someone joined him a few minutes later. It was Dr. Hart. "Mind if I join you?" she asked. "Of course not," Liam said, gesturing to the empty chair beside him. They chatted more about their work, their families, and their dreams for the future. Dr. Hart told Liam about growing up in a small coastal town where pollution threatened the local fishing industry. That experience inspired her to pursue environmental science. Liam shared his own story, how losing Claire pushed him to focus on raising Maya and finding ways to make life better for others. By the end of the night, Liam felt less like an outsider and more like part of a community. These were people who cared deeply about making the world a better place, just like him. For the first time in a long time, he felt hopeful, not just for himself, but for everyone. The next morning, Liam woke up early and headed back to the convention center for the final sessions. One presentation stood out to him. A group of students shared their invention, a low-cost device that detected air pollution in real time. The students explained how they developed it in their school lab with limited resources, hoping to help communities monitor air quality and advocate for change. Liam was moved by their creativity and determination. Afterward, he congratulated them and asked if they needed any advice or connections. The students looked surprised but grateful. "We'd love that," one of them said. "Thank you." On the drive home, Liam thought about everything he'd seen and heard at the conference. He realized how much good could come from bringing people together: scientists, activists, teachers, parents, all working toward the same goal. It wasn't about one person saving the world. It was about everyone doing their part. When Liam got home, Maya ran to greet him, eager to hear about the conference. "Did you meet cool people?" she asked, bouncing on her toes. "I did," Liam said, smiling. "And guess what? One team of kids invented a gadget that helps track dirty air. They're only a little older than you." Maya's eyes lit up. "Wow, maybe I'll invent something someday, too." "You absolutely will," Liam said, ruffling her hair. "In fact, why don't we start brainstorming tonight?" That evening, after dinner, Liam and Maya sat at the kitchen table with paper and colored pencils. Together, they sketched ideas for inventions: wind turbines shaped like flowers, robots that planted trees, machines that turned trash into treasure. Maya giggled as she drew, her imagination running wild. Liam watched her, feeling proud and inspired. Over the next few weeks, Liam stayed busy with his consulting work. He traveled to different towns, checking on projects and meeting the people benefiting from them. In one village, he met a farmer who used solar-powered irrigation to grow crops despite droughts. In another, he visited a school where children learned about sustainability through hands-on experiments. Everywhere he went, he saw proof that small actions could lead to big changes. One day, while reviewing a proposal for a new wind farm, Liam received a call from Mr. Dawson. "Eleanor wants to meet with you again," the lawyer said. "She says it's important." Liam agreed to meet her the following week. When he arrived at her house, Eleanor greeted him warmly and invited him inside. The living room was cozy, with books lining the shelves and plants scattered around the windowsills. Eleanor poured tea for both of them and handed Liam a folder. "This is the next step," she said. Inside the folder were plans for a massive initiative, a network of sustainable communities powered entirely by renewable energy. The goal was to create models that other cities and countries could follow. "We'll start small," Eleanor explained. "But eventually, this could inspire global change." Liam stared at the plans, overwhelmed by their scope. "It's amazing," he said. "But are you sure I'm the right person to help with something this big?" "Yes," Eleanor said firmly. "You've proven yourself over and over again. You understand people. You care about them. That's exactly what this project needs." Liam nodded, feeling a mix of pride and responsibility. He knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but he also knew he couldn't say no. This was his chance to make a real difference, not just for Maya, but for everyone. As they talked, Maya played with Eleanor's cat, a fluffy gray tabby named Luna. Every now and then, she chimed in with questions about the project. "Will there be parks?" she asked, "and playgrounds?" "Of course," Eleanor said, smiling. "Every community needs places for kids to play." By the time Liam and Maya left, the sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. On the drive home, Maya leaned her head against the window, watching the colors fade into darkness. "Dad," she said softly, "do you think we can really fix the world?" Liam thought for a moment before answering. "Maybe not all at once," he said, "but every little bit helps. If enough people care and try, we can make things better for us, for animals, for everyone." Maya nodded, satisfied with his answer. Okay, let's do it. Liam smiled, feeling a surge of hope. Life still had its challenges, but for the first time in years, he felt ready to face them. With Eleanor's trust, his own determination, and Maya cheering him on, he knew anything was possible. Months passed, and Liam threw himself into the new project Eleanor had entrusted to him, a network of sustainable communities powered entirely by renewable energy. At first, it felt overwhelming. The plans were ambitious, and there were countless details to figure out. But Liam reminded himself that he didn't have to do everything alone. He had a team of experts, volunteers, and supporters who believed in the vision as much as he did. Every day brought new challenges and opportunities. Liam traveled to different towns, meeting with mayors, teachers, business owners, and families. He listened to their needs and ideas, making sure the project reflected what people truly wanted. Some communities already had solar panels or wind turbines, while others were starting from scratch. No matter where he went, Liam emphasized one thing. This wasn't just about technology. It was about bringing people together to build something better for everyone. Maya loved hearing about her dad's adventures. Whenever he came home, she begged him to tell stories about the places he visited and the people he met. "What's your favorite part?" she asked one evening as they sat on the couch eating popcorn. "The kids," Liam said without hesitation. "They're so excited about the future. One boy in Colorado showed me his design for a treehouse made out of recycled materials. Another girl in Texas dreams of being an inventor when she grows up." "Cool," Maya said, grinning. "Maybe I'll visit those places someday." "You will," Liam promised. "And maybe you'll invent something amazing too." As the months turned into a year, the first sustainable community began taking shape. It was located in a small town surrounded by rolling hills and forests. Solar panels lined rooftops, wind turbines spun lazily in the breeze, and gardens overflowed with vegetables and flowers. A park in the center of town featured playgrounds, walking trails, and educational signs explaining how the systems worked. Kids played soccer while parents chatted nearby. Smiling at the progress. Liam attended the grand opening ceremony, standing beside Eleanor as the mayor gave a speech. "This is just the beginning," the mayor said, pointing to the fields beyond the town. "Soon we'll expand these efforts to other areas, proving that sustainability isn't just a dream, it's possible." The crowd erupted in applause, and Liam felt a lump rise in his throat. He glanced at Eleanor, who stood quietly beside him. Her expression was calm, but her eyes sparkled with pride. When the ceremony ended, Liam thanked her for trusting him with such an important task. "You've done more than I ever expected," Eleanor said simply. "Thank you." Over the next few years, the initiative grew. More towns joined the network, each adding its own unique touch. Some focused on farming, using greenhouses powered by geothermal energy. Others became hubs for education, teaching children and adults alike about sustainability. Everywhere Liam went, he saw proof that kindness and determination could create lasting change. One summer afternoon, Liam took Maya to visit one of the newer communities. They walked through the streets, admiring the colorful murals painted on walls and the rows of trees lining sidewalks. Maya stopped to pet a dog tied outside a cafe, while Liam chatted with a woman selling fresh produce at a market stall. "This place feels alive," Maya said later, skipping ahead of him. "Like it's happy." "It is," Liam agreed, "because people here care about each other and about the planet." That evening, as they drove home, Maya asked a question that caught Liam off guard. "Do you think Mom would be proud of us?" Liam hesitated, gripping the steering wheel tightly. He thought about Claire, the way she used to laugh, the way she always encouraged him to follow his dreams. She'd been passionate about protecting the environment, even planting a garden in their backyard before she passed away. If she were here now, she'd probably be leading workshops or teaching kids how to compost. I think she'd love what we're doing, Liam said finally. And I think she'd be proud of you, especially. You're growing into such a kind, smart person. Maya smiled, hugging her stuffed bear close. Thanks, Dad. When they got home, Liam pulled an old photo album from the closet. Together, they flipped through pictures of Claire, her bright smile, her hands covered in dirt from gardening, her arms wrapped around Maya as a baby. For the first time in years, Liam didn't feel sad looking at the photos. Instead, he felt grateful for the time they'd shared and for the legacy she'd left behind. The next morning, Liam received a package in the mail. Inside was another letter from Eleanor, along with a photograph. The picture showed a group of children planting trees in one of the sustainable communities. On the back, Eleanor had written, "These are the seeds of hope. Thank you for helping plant them." Liam pinned the photo to his corkboard, next to Maya's drawings and Sarah's. Wind turbine. Every time he looked at it, he remembered why he kept going, not for fame or fortune, but because it mattered as the years went by. Liam continued working with Voss Technologies, mentoring others and supporting new projects. Maya grew taller and braver, filling notebooks with sketches of inventions she hoped to build someday. Sometimes she joined Liam on trips to visit the sustainable communities, chatting with kids her age and learning about science and nature. One day, when Maya was 12, she announced that she wanted to enter a school competition focused on environmental innovation. "I'm going to design a machine that turns rainwater into clean drinking water," she said confidently. "That's incredible," Liam said, hugging her. "You'll win for sure." Maya didn't win the competition, but she didn't mind. Just participating made her proud. And when the judges praised her idea, calling it creative and thoughtful, she beamed with joy. "See?" Liam said afterward. "You're already changing the world." By the time Maya turned 15, the network of sustainable communities had spread across the country. News outlets wrote articles about the initiative, praising Eleanor's vision and the grassroots efforts that made it possible. People began referring to it as the Quiet Revolution, a movement driven not by politicians or corporations, but by ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Eleanor remained in the background, rarely speaking publicly. But Liam knew her. Influence was everywhere. She had planted seeds of kindness and hope, trusting that they would grow in ways no one could predict. And they had. One autumn evening, Liam and Maya visited Eleanor's house again. The leaves outside were turning, golden and red, crunching underfoot as they walked up the driveway. Eleanor greeted them warmly, inviting them inside for tea. As they sat by the fire, Maya showed her latest invention, a tiny robot designed to pick up litter in parks. "It's brilliant," Eleanor said, studying the prototype. "Have you thought about entering it in a contest?" "Maybe," Maya said shyly. "But mostly, I just want to make it work." Eleanor smiled. "That's the best reason of all." Later that night, as Liam tucked Maya into bed, she asked another question. "Do you think Eleanor will ever stop hiding? Like, will she let people know she's the one behind all this?" Liam shook his head. "I don't think so, and that's okay. Sometimes the quietest actions are the most powerful." Maya nodded, yawning. "Good night, Dad." "Good night, sweetheart." After Maya fell asleep, Liam stepped outside to look at the stars. The air was crisp and cool, carrying the scent of fallen leaves. He thought about everything that had happened since the storm, the roof he fixed, the card Eleanor gave him, the journey that followed. Life hadn't been easy, but it had been meaningful. Somewhere in the distance, a wind turbine spun lazily, its blades catching the moonlight. Liam smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace. The world still had its problems, but for the first time, he believed they could be solved not by heroes, but by good people doing the right thing, even when no one was watching. And that, he realized, was enough.